Hello once again. I know it's been a while, and I have really no choice other than to explain the reason why. Other than the fact that I had a little accident at my house. I turned the corner while I was walking down my hallway in my house, and something new showed up that hadn't been there before. So I wasn't paying attention. I was paying attention to the item that I was carrying in my hand, and I cracked my knee. And in doing so, not being as young as I used to be, I bounced off the item. I looked down to see where my kneecap was. It wasn't on the floor, but I noticed that my knee started throbbing. So I said, "Okay, no big deal. No harm, no foul, no broken knee." Well, I took a couple of steps further, and I felt something that I could only describe as to maybe a rubber band feeling, kind of like if you ever had a given toy that was rubber band powered, like like one of those wooden guns that shoots rubber bands. You know exactly what it feels like when a rubber band leaves the gun. It makes kind of like a little boing sound, or feeling better yet. It didn't make a sound, but I could have the sensation within my knee was it felt like a rubber band had let go, and not all of a sudden the pain grew exponentially. Regardless whether or not having a very high tolerance to pain or threshold for large amounts of pain, I still realized that I was still injured. So I hobbled around my house for a couple of days. I made an effort to make a cane out of several items, which I did. One of them being out of a cue stick. Now, the only reason I'm not showing you here is because the video, I would have to shoot it from an overhead view from about, I'd say, like 5 feet up in the air, which right now might be near impossible, only because the area that I have here is literally about the dimensions of 1 foot square by 1 foot square, roughly. So anything that I put in front of the camera has to be within that given dimension, right? My bench isn't very big. The new one that I had to make isn't very big, and now I'm having to sit down to shoot videos. So okay, so here we are now. This item was actually in one of my junk drawers. This was one of the very first items that I had ever had to to repair items around my house. And in doing so, it was very useful at the time. It is a handheld driver per se. The Phillips head would go here, or the flathead would go to here. The flathead bit would go here. The Phillips head would go here. But if it was the right dimensions, you could actually drive a bolt. The bolt would fit in here, and you could drive it through. Now on this side, it had a dedicated battery, which I will show you. If you've been around long enough, you'll know exactly what name brand this is and what type of battery this is. Now, I'm not one to knock innovation. Being a technician, that innovations happen for a given reason. The dimensions would not allow for any other type of battery, but a tubular one. Okay, so this being a dedicated type of battery for this given device, what happens when this battery runs out of power and stops working? Well, you go out to the store and you buy another one. They were usually on the shelf, and you bought them and purchased them in 2 packs. And in doing so, you find yourself being able to use this item once again, right? So it was a very useful item. But because things do wear out eventually and battery packs become obsolete, or they go through their different iterations, where this was a 3 volt, so it probably went through its different iterations of 6 and 12 and whatnot. It did have various drive capacities on this one, like torque ranges, because of the capacity of the battery. And in doing so, once again, it did went probably through its different iterations. I failed to look up to see its evolution in its tool cycle, meaning its usefulness. So in doing so, this became a junk item. But knowing what I know now, which I should have known back then, was that yes, the battery is obsolete, but the item never became obsolete. And in doing so, I discovered through a lot of DIY scenarios that if I were to take this item apart, that I could hook it up to a battery source. Back then, when this item came out or debuted, USBs were not possible. USBs run at 5 volts. This is a 3 volt. Now 5 to 3 is no big deal, and in doing so, I could hook it up to a USB or a 18. Hold on. Okay, just give me a second. I'm going to pause the video so I can go look for the battery. Okay, sorry about the pause there. This happens to be an 18650 battery, 4.7 volts. So long as the amperage isn't too high, this item should be able to survive the upgrade. Okay, because that's usually what fries items, is the fact that we stress them out, electricity wise, and in terms of this will only power this but not exceed limits. Okay, so now I have a chance to go to 18650 batteries, so long as I have a battery holder for this, which I probably will make out of another battery holder. Being what it may be, I can even make one out of PVC, because this will go into a cold water PVC pipe. But keep in mind, it's not being used for water or for PVC or for plumbing. But I could use that type of PVC for a battery holder. So I'm going to pause the video just one more time, and I'm sorry about that. Alright, so in doing so, I can use this type of pipe. It is 3/4 cold water. And if I cut it down to the right dimensions, I could use that as a battery holder. Right? So, the wire will be connected to the end of this PVC, positive, negative to negative. Even though this doesn't have a positive or negative side, it can be used as a battery holder. Right. So once again, 18650 battery from this 3 volt battery to an item that was once in a junk drawer and could have been disposed of. But that's not this driver's fault. Planned obsolescence, even though that might be a bad word and that might get me banned, this particular video ban, planned obsolescence is the reason why this became a junk item. Here's the bonus feature, or 2 bonuses as a matter of fact. When taking items apart, sometimes they have springs in them, and in doing so, I kid you not, that's the first thing to leave an item. So you need to be real careful when taking these items apart. It could be a spring, it could be a bearing, it could be a bearing that's being used as a switch selector. You'll find out as you do a lot of DIY that's the first item to leave because it's under tension or pressure or be it what it may be. Or through carelessness, as in tapping the item on your bench, you'll see the item and then it'll roll off your bench and it'll be gone forever. Okay, here's the other bonus. Part of the bonus that I need to tell you. In taking this item apart, I discovered the transmission part of it in this gray area has a lot of pieces in it. They actually came out as once again I was tapping the item gently and it settled to one side. So I had to tap it out and empty it onto my bench. Mercy me, there is literally, let's see if I can count them in my head. There's a plate, there's 6 roller bearings, akin to kind of like something similar to, I'll think about it, like about these pins right here. The pins that are in here, about the same diameter, but in here, and they were silver, and they were quite small. And there was, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, 3 gears, all right, plastic gears, okay, connected to a transmission type plate, and 2 other little metal gears that went on one side and then on the other. One of the metal gears was actually on a D type drive on the motor that's in here. So that's 6 gears, right? So there's so many different little parts in here that in this transmission, had I not known what I was getting into, I literally got myself in a very interesting situation where I almost gave up on this item. But because I'm a technician and I'm not bragging, it's just statement of fact. I kept a level head and I put everything back together and it does work. Okay. So that's the bonus feature, A or B or whatever, 1 or 2. When you're taking items apart, please be careful. These specialty items and the ones that have transmissions or drives have a lot of pieces in them. I'm not going to count them all in totality, but I just finished stating as to how many there could possibly be in here. There were a lot. Okay, today's bonus feature is this item right here. Okay, this was a magnetic pickup tool. Okay, it came apart. This antenna portion or external portion actually came apart. So the magnet would fall off. And so it wasn't useful anymore as a magnetic pickup tool. But knowing what I know, I took out my heat gun. Oh, correction, I took out my glue gun and I glued this back together. But because the glue was traveling all over the place, I remembered the mighty napkin. If you get this soaking wet, but not completely dripping wet, because it'll drip all over the place and you don't want it making a puddle on your bench area, I was able to shape this hot glue around here. So this acted as a thermal barrier because it was wet, and it allowed the glue to be shaped, not smoothly, but it was able to take a shape. So proving once again that the napkin is very mighty because it can be used, as I had shown in other videos, previous videos, that it can be used to loosen items using vice grips, because you don't want to leave tool marks on any given item that you're trying to take apart. Okay, so that's our bonus for today, besides bonus A or 1 as an advisement. And then once again, the hot glue itself can be shaped. So I appreciate your patience. Sorry about the fact that I hadn't uploaded a video in a long time, but I was out, let's just say, because of the fact that I cracked my knee and I'd hurt myself. So appreciate your patience. Thanks so much again, and y'all have a good day.